of the City of Annapolis Human Relations Commission. It is 6:34. I'm Joshua Hatch, acting chair for the Annapolis Human Relations Commission. I move on to the next item of the agenda, which will be the approval of the agenda itself. And because there's no quorum, the commission is unable to formally approve the agenda. However, I would like to proceed by using this as a informal document, I guess, to guide us through a conversation tonight. So if there's no objections to that, I'll move on to the next item on the agenda. Any objections?
No.
No, please
Great.
go ahead.
Hearing. I have provided you all with a copy of the minutes from September 15th. They were distributed tonight. Actually, I sent them tonight. Thank you to Commissioner Mundy, who took notes for us. Since we lack a quorum, we cannot approve the minutes at this time. They will be carried forward for approval at our next meeting that we have a quorum. The next item on the agenda is the staff liaison report. So we have Claudia Barber here to provide us with the staff liaison report. Claudia?
Good evening, everyone. The staff liaison report is a follow-up from our last meeting in which I was given guidance. I'll start with item number 1, which was to send a notice out to the 3 complainants who filed complaints with the Annapolis Human Relations Commission, making them aware of our lack of quorum status, so that they would not think that we were not moving forward or acting on their complaints in a prompt manner. So that notice did go out to all 3 complainants. I did hear back from one of the complainants, Ms. Cully, and she wasn't sure which direction or action she was going to take as far as following up with in a different forum with her complaint. The other letters, I did not get a response as to what direction they were going to go, but the letters or notices were sent to them. The only other, I believe, report, I've had ongoing communications with Hillary Raftovich concerning the status of another commissioner. The status that is basically that she was approved, but she has not yet been sworn in. So that's the latest status report I have on the on another oncoming member of the board and commission. I think that would conclude my report at this time.
Thank you, Claudia, for that. I believe the person that you're speaking about is Miss Janine Tasker. She is present tonight, and the City Council did approve her becoming a member of the commission, and now we just have to wait for her to be sworn in. So we look forward to that, and this actually goes well with my report. And
I would just like to make one point, Joshua, and that is, I may be the last person that's actually been sworn in. I don't think that Mayor Al Hopkins used to do that, but I don't think there's been a single commissioner who's been sworn in. So I don't know.
That's not correct. That's not correct.
Were you sworn in?
Yes, it was.
Oh, okay. Well,
Yeah, I don't think I was.
Okay, well, I stand corrected then. But anyway,
Yeah, I
the
wasn't sworn in.
City
Yeah.
Council has approved the nomination of Janine Tasker to serve on the commission, and I think that she should have all voting rights to the extent to which we can do that. I think we're pretty limited right now, but I think that in terms of her participation in our meeting, I think we can consider her a member of the commission.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, she's got all the rights that everyone else on the line has, which is really nothing, none right now. So most definitely, she's more than welcome to have those. Next item on the agenda is my report. And first, I want to take the time to thank everyone for showing up. This has become really frustrating for me. And I'm sure for everyone else. I'm looking at the face of Linda right now. Yep, she's nodding. And I see Chuck nodding.
Yes.
Mike smiling. Janine is like, what's going on? And Rosemary, she's in too. And I only can imagine what Lakeisha's face is looking like. So let me just start off by saying thank you for showing up. Thank you for being here, even though it's become a challenge because of the lack of quorum. I do want to acknowledge that Linda has sent over a note to me in the email. Linda, I got it, about some suggestions, a meeting with the new mayor once they take office to express the concern, to talk about um, the number of individuals that are seated on the commission itself and how that number needs to be reduced so we don't have these issues with the quorum. I think I'm getting ahead of myself, but that's okay because we won't be on here too long, I don't think. But what I will say to you is that I think also that once the quorum situation is settled, we really need to decide on who would be the best person to serve as the chair. And I started off this meeting by saying that I'm the acting chair, right? My plate is full. I have a lot of stuff going on. I have no problem with stepping up while we go through this transition period. But I do want to make it very clear that I have several commitments and I believe that I would not be best suited for the position. I think there are other folks on here that are suited. Maybe Ms. Tasker may want to take that role. I would love I would love to see Linda take the role because I think she would be outstanding chair. Don't tell her I said it, but I think that we need to make sure that that is adjusted, taken care of. In the meantime, whatever I need to do in order to make sure that we continue to meet, I'm more than happy to do that, and any other things that I need to do to ensure that the commission is operating in the way in which it should. Which takes me to my next item on the agenda, dealing with the quorum concern. Claudia, thank you for your report. I only want to open up the floor to ask any other commissioner, did they have time to really think about the things that we talked about in our September meeting? Outside of Linda, I know you brought up the importance of meeting with the new mayor to address the concerns of the commission. Does anybody else want to talk about the quorum concern?
I have an issue related to the quorum, and I feel as if I don't say this, we may not get a quorum as we would like. I find that when I am talking to people, trying to, recruit them also subtly before I hit the hammer on the head with it. I find that I feel like I should have something to give them. And I know that on our website, we can download the bylaws and all that stuff. But I think people need to know, what would they actually be doing? What does it look like? What does it feel like? Is it, and I feel like we're missing out on having some good marketing materials for that. And with that, when we look at hopefully in the future doing more outreach events, we really need some swag, we need signs, we need to have something to support us other than our brilliant personalities. And so that's what I've been thinking about.
I agree with you. We do need some swag and some brochures and maybe even a nice little button or something. Um,
Yeah, yeah.
and
And,
what-
and the other thing is, when Chuck and I did the Hispanic Heritage Month, we did have a nice sign. It was bilingual, English, Spanish, about the commission. I have no idea where that sign is now. But we need to strut our stuff a little bit more. We've we have a good group. We have a great mission. We need to be able to put that together to show others. My 2 cents.
I agree.
So monetarily speaking, um, I I guess I have a question for the former chair, Mike Keller. How did you handle brochures and marketing materials in the past?
Well, the commission does have a brochure that describes its work, and there is also a separate brochure that we have dealing with fair housing, since that is a responsibility of the commission. That's a really major logistical responsibility. The other thing that we do have, at least in my opinion, the best website or web page of any of the 30 odd boards of commissions. I'm not sure how many people have looked at it. There's a video for me, but that was done earlier. But I give a fairly detailed description about the commission. And so if people can be encouraged to visit our website, all the documentation they really need to learn about us is pretty much there. At the same time, if there are other things that the commissioners would want to display at tables or the such, we have done that in the past. I think that we could expect that we would get some pretty strong support from the city of Annapolis via the Office of Human Resources, which provides our support. So I think you're seeing on the screen there something from the website. And as I said, if you just look through it, just about any of our major documents are there for those who want it. And if they just want to learn about the commission, they just click the video and they'll get they'll receive the comments that I've made.
Mike,
So I hope that responds to your question, Claudia.
I have a follow-up question. I remember, and this is going back to the Stone Age when I first joined the commission. Did we not have like a $2,500 budget at one time, which we used to buy brochures and whatever tchotchkes we may have wanted for outreach?
That goes back quite a number of years. The answer to your question is boards and commissions used to have set budgets that they had for the year. City Council, in its wisdom, chose to end that practice and simply left the issue of funding to the city's department that supported the board or commission. And for us, it's the Office of Human Resources. And through the leadership of Claudia and Tricia, we've pretty much gotten anything that we've asked for. They've been very, very supportive of us. But the answer to your question is boards and commissions were sort of defunded, but then told, go to talk to your department and you can perhaps get some support there.
Linda? Yes, you're on mute, Linda. It's okay. It's Monday.
Okay. So I just have an idea for an immediate remedy in the meantime while we're kind of in this transition period, with the city council and the mayor and all the stuff. And budgets probably too. What if I were to draft an email that we could just use to send to people, just saying, thanks for your interest in being a commissioner with the Human Relations Commission. Here's what you need to know. And I could provide links to the web pages that Mike has referenced. Here's an FAQ, here's our meeting schedule, and ultimately, I know what people always want to know about volunteer jobs is, how much time are you asking me to commit, right? So it would be like 3 hours a month, basically, is my thought on that, when we're functional. What if I were to just draft an email? And as far as the other pieces that Mike mentioned, if you recall, I did gather the brochures that we have, the commission brochure, but that's really for residents. That's not for recruiting people. So we're talking about a different audience, but I do have those still here. And then I do have some fair housing brochures. So I've got a box of that. Rosemary and I she got a tablecloth. I made a iron-on transfer for it. I made a sign for the table, but it was, pretty goofy. It was like in the white binder. I just slid it in and then rested the binder on the table. We do have the sign holder. Claudia found that, but Claudia could not find the sign that you're mentioning, Rosemary. So we do have some pieces, but right now too, we're not out going to any events, and I'm not sure that we'll be doing that in the next couple of months. So I definitely think, those are all things that are needed. But in the meantime, I could put together a draft email, which you all could just use to send to people as follow-ups for, are you interested?
Thank you, Linda, for doing that.
Excellent.
And if you want any feedback on it,
absolutely.
I'm happy to do that.
Okay. I'll just draft something. I'll put it in Google Docs and I'll just send it out to you all for feedback, and then we can just reuse it as needed.
All right. Does anybody else have anything they want to highlight about the quorum concern?
So I thought Rosemary was going to say this. So my concern is just, I don't feel convinced about inviting people into this right now because we're in such a odd period and we don't even really know when and how we're going to get functional again. And I think it feels odd to invite people. And thank you for being here, Janine. Welcome.
Yeah, welcome.
This is such an odd thing, right? Such an odd thing. but yeah, to invite people to come to a meeting for an hour every month and we're not even able to make any decisions really about anything. And you know what I mean? It's just like all very weird. So I just have been really hesitant to invite people. And I say that, and then I also do have a little list going too of people that I want to talk to. So, you know, that's just a concern I have. And it has made me feel hesitant because I feel like I need to tell people, well, we're expecting to be up and running again, you know, by February, by March. You know, I don't know. But I mean, if we're realistic, it's nothing's going to happen this year.
That's true.
Not sure
Probably not
that,
January either.
I mean, the new mayor takes office, I believe, the first week of December. And yes, yeah, there probably isn't any,
Priorities.
A
hey,
point
yeah, I
of
mean,
clarification, though, a point of clarification, though, each time you reach out to someone and they become someone of interest, you know, you could have another person and then another person and then another person, and then all of a sudden the quorum is cured.
Well, going through the process and getting approved by a new city council. Yeah, all the pieces. I mean, still it's going to take time, is my point. So yes, yes. And that's what I'm saying. Like, I'm just sharing my concern. There's nothing I can do about it other than to just ignore it and go ahead and still talk to people. So I got you. But yeah, I don't think that this is going to be, I'm just being realistic. Maybe I'm being negative. I don't know, but I don't think this is going to be the new mayor's priority anytime soon.
I think we ought to reach out to him.
Right. Well, that was my suggestion.
Yeah,
Yes.
I know him pretty well, and I can encourage that he give Josh a call and sit down. And I think this isn't a heavy lift. It doesn't take 15 minutes of his time, or even much more than that at the council, the city council, and I think we ought to push it forward.
Yeah, no, just so I said this before, but I will say it again. Linda did make some recommendations, and part of the recommendation was that the new mayor needed to be engaged, and there were some concerns that needed to be highlighted. The quorum issue being at the top of the list, because it really stops us from being able to do anything. We're having discussions right now, but we can't take complaints. We can't approve an agenda. We can't, approve the minutes. We can't do anything without the quorum. And so the new mayor needs to understand that we have a human relations commission that is can't do anything, right? And so there are some fundamental things that have to be addressed. And on the outreach piece, I do think that we need to have more materials than just a brochure. Maybe the brochure needs to, we need to take it back and look at it and see, update it, I don't know, a new sign, make sure that people have name tags that say Human Relations Commission when they're out in the community and they're going to outreach events. Just the small things make a huge difference when we're talking to the public. So all of these things really do go towards whether or not a person wants to participate or join the commission. And I think a major one is the activity of the commission. What are we working on? Outside of talking about a lack of a quorum, there are some things that we have yet to fully address. And I won't bring up the mold issue again. We don't have to talk about that tonight. But I'm just saying there are things that the commission has received complaints on that we have not addressed yet. And I don't think the city has forgotten about that. Well, I haven't.
I haven't either, but I'm embarrassed at the lack of action by, the mayor's a great guy, Chief Staff's a nice person, but they did a little, and Hillary, to my knowledge, did nothing. So I think we ought to reach out. I'd be amazed if it's not Jared Littman as the new mayor. He takes office December 7th. And I think we ought to make it part of his first week agenda.
Well, I'm definitely committed to meeting with Jared about,
Okay.
these issues. I'm committed. I will say that I don't feel like I need to be alone. I think that other commissioners, he should hear from the commission, the entire
Right.
commission. So for that meeting, I would definitely invite everyone on this line to join me in having a conversation with the mayor about the concerns of the commission, because it's not just my concern, it's everybody's concern. So,
Well, yeah, I agree with everything that I've heard this evening. I do think that this is an issue which the city can address pretty quickly in terms of the operation of the commission and restoring us to a position in which I think the city council envisioned when it created the commission back in 1963. I do think that the mayor needs to be briefed about how this all came about, because there's a direct line in terms of how we ended up in the situation that we currently face. And I think he needs to understand that historically in terms of what happened, specifically what happened over the last year. And that's going to require naming names. And there was a complete lack of neglect on the part, and I know this is being recorded and it's available for people to see. But I'll say straight out that the commission was not provided with the support that it needed from the mayor, that's the previous mayor, or from the individual who's responsible for coordinating boards and commissions. The good news about this is I think it can be remedied fairly quickly. If we have 2 new commissioners, that will restore us to the quorum. And if the commission were treated like almost all the other boards and commissions, having 9 members, for example, as opposed to the current 15, that would automatically put us back into operation. But I do think that when we meet with the mayor, that there ought to be some very delegated individuals who will speak. I think Joshua, as acting chair, should lead us off. But I think it's very important for the mayor and for anyone else who attends that meeting from the city. And it's very possible that the mayor will want the coordinator boards and commissions to be present. But I think we need to go through and say, this is what we have done over the last year to try to avoid the problem that we currently face. And as a new mayor, we're going to ask that this be done expeditiously so that we don't have a situation in which we're receiving complaints from citizens about the acts of discrimination, and we can't carry out our responsibilities under the city code.
Couldn't agree more. I think we ought to set a goal of having this completely done by January.
Well,
Mike, I have a question and an idea. I agree that it would be good for the new mayor to understand what our history has been over at least the past year, right? That we've been actively trying to get more support on the issues of the quorum and just recruiting commissioners, all the stuff, as well as some of the issues that have been ignored. Would you be willing to write maybe a brief so that could perhaps help us get a meeting? If there was a brief so that the new mayor understands exactly what, the issues are and why it is important to meet, because right now the Human Relations Commission is not operating in our city. People have no way to submit complaints, and I believe that the mayor, that would be pretty important to the mayor. So what if could you just put together a 1-page brief that outlines this is the history, like you said, and this, the issue, the real issue of what's going on.
I'd be delighted to.
Right?
I love
Thank
these things.
you. That would be
Yeah,
good.
the
Yeah,
other
that'd be
thing
good.
I'm sorry, I thought people were taking a breath.
Yeah.
I know that each year, Michael, you put together the annual report of activities that we have done. And possibly, I know we want to keep it short, sweet, to the point, but I think it's important for the new mayor to know what we have accomplished when we are at full complement or when we have quorum.
Yeah, the one issue that's going to get involved with it is with the annual report is that the commission can't approve it. I can write it or someone else can write the report, but we can't have something that said this is going to, because the first thing you're going to hear from the coordinator of boards and commissions is this has been approved by the commission, and we can't approve
Well,
it.
I know this year would be tough, but other annual reports could be supportive documents to the one pager that you're doing.
Oh, I mean, I've got electronically every single annual report that the
Mhm.
commission has ever submitted. And it goes back easily goes back quite a number of years because I was chair for such a long period of time. But I think it would be a very good opportunity in this situation for when I get the email from the city saying do your report, that for the Relations Commission, we simply inform the coordinator of boards and commissions that because of the current situation, we're unable to prepare a report this year. And secondly, that we cannot do that going forward until such time as the commission is back in full operation.
A question, is Hillary still going to be the coordinator, or is that an appointment or, a person the mayor hires as a new mayor?
The latter.
Also the chief of staff, presumably.
All those people work at the
Right.
pleasure of the mayor. Every one of them can be replaced. I'm not saying that we
Right.
there. I'm just simply saying that
Right.
That's their status.
Well, I've got to run off to another commitment, but I believe we ought to approach the mayor. I said the mayor, expected to be the mayor-elect Jared Littman, and encourage he have a meeting with Joshua and whoever other commissioners can attend.
Hey Chuck, wait a minute. You can't leave yet because we won't have a quorum.
Well,
Well,
I'm a member of the non-quorum already. But particularly welcome, Janine, and I look forward to meeting you and working with you on actual civil rights stuff rather than all this process stuff. And we hope to have this resolved quickly.
I would agree with Chuck on that, Janine. This is a very unusual situation. I mean, I've served on the commission for it's been over 25 years that I've served on the commission. We've never had anything quite like we've not had anything like this occur. And with that regard, I would just like to reach out and praise Joshua Hatch for agreeing to serve as acting chair, because we had absolutely no chair and no way of doing it. The only thing we had was that Josh, as vice chair, was able to, under the bylaws, serve as acting chair in this situation. That saved us from an enormous problem. And he's done a great job, a really great job.
Absolutely.
As acting chair. Gets better and better every time I have an opportunity to see him at work. So
I watch all your videos.
We're going to get beyond this, but I fully agree with the sentiments that's been expressed by several people tonight that we cannot let this fester on. We need to talk with members of the city council and specifically the mayor and say, this has got to get fixed like yesterday.
Okay, so I think that what we've agreed is Mike's going to put together a brief, and then we'll send that. The election's tomorrow. We'll know officially in a week, and then we'll get an email out to the mayor. Perhaps somebody can follow up and talk to the mayor. I'm not naming names at this point, but and see, how we can get on the calendar. So I like that plan. I think it's the best we got. What do you think, Joshua?
I think it's excellent. I think it's wonderful. And I smell my fish. It's cooking. So I'm
Nice.
joking. No, but I think it's an excellent plan. I do.
All right.
The next item, Chuck, if you stay, I'm trying to tell you, we're going to get through.
I will leave the non-quorum.
Oh,
Thanks again.
thank you.
Bye.
The next item on our agenda is the handling of complaints until the quorum is reached. Of course, Claudia has been the point person for us. I just wanted to make it a matter of the record that during this time we're not able to review those complaints. Well, we can review them, but we can't take any action on them. And Claudia has been handling that for us. So I wanted to make sure that that's on the agenda, and the quorum concern as well. As long as I'm the acting chair, I will always put it on the agenda because it needs to be documented as an ongoing issue. So that's why that's there. So if there's no comments about the handling of complaints, then I will move on to old business.
I forgot. I think that there was another complaint that came in, and that had to do with a person who chose a rental car agency, and
Oh, right.
that I wrote him and explained to him, I believe, the same thing, and he did call back asking for the clarification on the options to consider at this particular point in time. So there was an additional complaint. I wanted to correct my prior status report in that regard. Thank you.
Thank you, Claudia. Are there any updates or follow-ups from previous meetings that members would like to share regarding old business? No?
I noticed in the notes that I took from last time, because I did actually review them before the meeting. Thank you for sending them out. The city of Annapolis was going to talk to us about how we could use AI to actually do the minutes and meetings. So I'm wondering if Josh, our technical contact, if that is
Oh, you're talking
something
about
that he might have found out. Yeah.
okay.
Usually the scheduling goes with Mark Hildebrand. So anything, I can coordinate with him, but it would have to funnel through him for any of that to be officially scheduled. So
Meaning he handles the setting up the whole call, and if AI can be turned on or not to take notes.
yes, yeah, we've been having some. Yes, man. Yeah, we've had some talk about AI, and there's a little bit of back and forth about whether or not we should have it or not. But yeah, Mark will be the head person for that.
So, is anybody doing it?
People have used auto note taker AI, but I think the general sentiment is they want to get rid of it due to some security concerns. But I mean, it's kind of sink or swim with AI. I think it's going to end up sticking around, honestly. So
right, eventually it'll get more secure. Yeah, exactly.
Right.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Well, we'll check in. I'm not as worried about it. I did take notes again, Joshua Hatch. So,
Thank you.
I'm not necessarily a minutes person, but I did take notes, and I think once we get more official, we can check in again about the AI, using AI to do our minutes. I use
You're not
it myself and it works really well. So,
you're not a minute person? I mean, you did an excellent job.
I mean, I just don't rewrite it and summarize it all. And, I just take the notes as people talk, kind of thing. So
Yeah. You know,
I just don't go back and rewrite it all officially.
excellent. All right. No more old business, new business. Is there any new business or announcements anyone wishes to bring forward? No?
I would just mention that the task force, which is preparing for Anne Arundel County, a hate crimes and bias incidents prevention program, is rapidly approaching the conclusion of its work. I expect that they'll probably have a report and a full summary of what they're doing by their next meeting in mid-December. I know that the one function I have is I serve on a committee which is helping to put together a formal program dealing with the prevention of hate crimes and bias incidents in Anne Arundel County, as well as put together a toolkit which will enable any residents of the county who are affected by a hate crime or hate incident to be able to report it in a manner that is easy and is productive. And I expect, again, based on where we are, that that's going to be concluded, as I said, by around mid-December. I see that Lakeisha is still on our call. Lakeisha, do you want to add anything regarding that?
I just wanted to add a couple of things. The first would be the Anne Arundel County Human Relations Commission is currently going through kind of a strategy committee. They formulated a strategy committee to see how we can be more interactive with the community, and with volunteering and also outreach. And I think the hate crime prevention is part of that strategy. I don't have all the ins and outs as of right now because it's still in discussion, but that is one of the things that I wanted to bring forth. And as well as for the group, once the new mayor is elected, we will be sending a draft email over to the new mayor, kind of speaking towards, what we do. And also we would like to coordinate more with you all, outside of just the liaison coming to your meetings, but just to see how we could band together to be more effectively interactive in the community as well. So in the meantime, I know that you're having forum issues, and on that side, there's issues with, excuse me, volunteers as well. So I think it's across the board. But if you could think of, as we are as well, think of ways that we can coordinate, come together, and really start doing some outreach as a one front. That's all I have for the group. Questions, statements, suggestions?
Thank you, Lakeisha.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right.
And I just wanted to give an update really quickly for the Coalition for Atonement and Repair. You can go look on the website. It's called carforjustice.info, and the 4 is the number 4. But basically, the apology that the residents of the Old Fourth Ward had requested over a year ago from the mayor and the city council did not happen, even though he publicly stated several times over this past year that it would happen. Most of the issue laid in the fact that the Office of Law just would tear up everything that was submitted by the coalition, because the mayor had asked us initially to draft the apology. And after the third time, the coalition made the decision to just let go of the work with the existing city council and focus on the incoming next council, which is why, you know, we held a forum, a candidate forum in August. So I just wanted to share that with you all, that it's not just the commission that has been neglected. And yes, very, very frustrating, to say the least. So that's my update.
Well, I hope everyone has a wonderful holiday. And I will see you next month. This meeting is adjourned.
Thank you.